Seoul International High Institution had seen handsome boys before, but none like Kang Min-jae, the only son of Korea's wealthiest tech billionaire. His jawline looked like it was carved by precision lasers, his voice melted hearts in the hallway, and whenever he walked past, girls whispered, giggled, and adjusted their hair like synchronized dancers. Everyone wanted Min-jae. Everyone except Jenny. Jenny Okafor, the black Nigerian girl who transferred on scholarship, always carried herself with quiet elegance. She minded her business, focused on her books, and refused to join the chaos surrounding Min-jae. When girls swooned, she rolled her eyes. When they fought over who got to hand him his notebook, she walked around them and went about her day. It irritated Min-jae more than he admitted. From the first day he saw her dark glowing skin, long curly hair, and big expressive eyes, he felt something unfamiliar. Attraction. Curiosity. A pull. He wasn't used to being ignored, and the one girl he wanted wasn't even impressed. He caught himself watching her in class, noticing the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when concentrating, how she bit her lip when solving equations, and how she always wore a calm expression even when the world around her felt chaotic. He wanted her attention. He needed it. But Jenny acted like he didn't exist. Min-jae wasn't the type to chase girls. They usually came running. But chasing Jenny felt like a challenge he couldn't resist. It began in the cafeteria. "Is this seat taken?" he asked, standing beside her table. Jenny didn't look up from her food. "Yes." Her curt reply shocked him. The girls around gasped. He swallowed. "But no one is." "It's taken," she repeated, finally meeting his eyes with a calm, uninterested stare. That moment shook Min-jae. No girl had ever looked him in the face with such cold neutrality. He wasn't offended, just intrigued. Later that day he approached her again in the library where she studied alone. "You don't like me," he stated. She glanced at him. "I don't know you." Most girls would have fainted already. He found himself smiling. "Then get to know me," he said. She closed her book. "What? Because you're used to girls worshipping you?" she asked softly. "I'm not one of them." Those words sat on his chest long after she walked away. For the first time in his life, Min-jae was restless. In class he couldn't focus. During basketball practice he kept checking the entrance to see if she walked by. At home he replayed every conversation they'd had, even the rude ones. His friends teased him. "You're falling, bro? Just pick another girl." Why her? He didn't have an answer. Meanwhile, Jenny continued her routine unaffected. Her only goal was to graduate with honors. Her mother back home worked tirelessly to sponsor her dreams. She couldn't afford distractions, especially rich boys who played with girls' emotions. But the more she ignored Min-jae, the harder he tried. He left snacks on her desk. She gave them to others. He offered her lecture notes. She showed him her own, which were better. He held the door open for her. She walked through without acknowledging him. To Jenny he was a nuisance. To Min-jae, she was becoming his world. One rainy afternoon, everything changed. Jenny forgot her umbrella. She stood outside the building watching the heavy downpour, resigned to getting soaked. A black umbrella suddenly hovered above her. "Min-jae, you'll catch a cold," he said quietly. She wanted to argue, but the concern in his eyes softened her. They walked in silence, their footsteps echoing through puddles. His hand brushed hers accidentally. A spark jolted between them. They both felt it. At the dormitory gate she muttered, "Thank you." It was the first time she had shown him warmth. Min-jae smiled, slow, soft, breathtaking. "You're welcome, Jenny." Her heart skipped. That night she thought about him longer than she wanted to. The next day rumors exploded. The billionaire's son walked Jenny home. He gave her his umbrella. Is she his girlfriend? Girls who adored Min-jae gave Jenny hateful stares. Some whispered insults when she passed. Others muttered racist comments under their breath. Jenny tried to ignore them. But Min-jae didn't. When he overheard two girls insulting Jenny's skin, he slammed his locker shut and glared at them. "Say anything about her again," he warned, "and you're done." Word spread fast. Girls backed off. But they also grew jealous. Jenny confronted him later. "You didn't need to defend me." "Yes, I did," he replied firmly. "I like you." Her heart stumbled, but she stayed silent. Min-jae asked to be her study partner repeatedly until she finally agreed, only because the professor paired them for a project. But she regretted it instantly. Min-jae was too close, too gentle, too attentive. Every time he leaned over her shoulder, her breath caught. Every time he smiled at her, her chest tightened. One evening during their study session he said, "Jenny, I don't want any girl. I want you." She dropped her pen. Why? She whispered. Because you're the only person who makes me feel human, he said. Not a billionaire's son. Not a trophy. Just a boy. Jenny didn't know how to respond. Feelings are stubborn. Jenny tried to deny hers, but whenever Min-jae laughed, her heart warmed. When he texted good morning, her day brightened. When he worried about her skipping lunch, she felt cared for in a way she hadn't in years. One night after studying, she found herself staring at him longer than usual. His soft hair fell over his forehead, his lashes were unfairly long, and his lips, she quickly looked away. But Min-jae saw. You're staring, he teased. I'm thinking, she corrected. About me, he whispered. Her silence was his answer. Min-jae couldn't hold it in anymore. Under the cherry blossom trees, with petals raining softly around them, he took her hands. I've liked you since the first day you walked into class, he said. I need you to know that. Jenny's breath hitched. Min-jae. You don't have to say anything, he said gently. Just don't run away from me. For the first time she didn't. Their closeness triggered jealousy everywhere. Girls plotted. Rumors spread. Someone even took photos and twisted stories online. Jenny was overwhelmed. Min-jae begged her not to leave him. She tried to stay strong, but the pressure crushed her. I didn't ask for this, she cried. You're not alone, he whispered, taking her into his arms. I'll protect you. And she believed him. Min-jae confronted the school board about the harassment. His father, shocked by his son's seriousness, stepped in and ensured Jenny's safety. Slowly things calmed. Girls stopped attacking. The noise faded. Jenny finally saw Min-jae clearly, not as the popular boy, not as the billionaire heir, but as the boy who chose her every single day. She touched his cheek softly. Thank you, for fighting for me. He leaned into her palm. I'd fight the whole world for you. They sat by the river one evening, the city lights dancing on the water. You know, Jenny said, I never understood why all the girls were tripping over you. He chuckled. And you still don't? She smiled shyly. I see it now, but I also see the real you. He pulled her closer. And the real me only wants you, Jenny. She finally whispered the words he'd been dying to hear. I like you too, Min-jae. He kissed her forehead gently, holding her like she was the only girl who ever mattered. Because she was. The only girl who didn't chase him. Became the only girl he ever wanted. Jenny never thought her quiet life would change so quickly. One minute she was the invisible girl focused on grades, and the next she was sitting across from the billionaire heir everyone admired, the boy who chose her above all. But with love came fear. What if she wasn't enough? What if his world swallowed her? What if she wasn't meant to be loved this loudly? Min-jae sensed her worries before she said a word. One cold evening he brought her to the rooftop of the school, a place only he knew. The city lights stretched endlessly below, and the night breeze blew through her curly hair. Jenny, he said softly, you've been thinking too much. She sighed. I'm scared, Minya. Of me? He asked, hurt flickering in his eyes. No, of us. He stepped closer and gently took her hands, warming them with his own. I know my world is loud, he whispered. But I'm not asking you to live in that noise. I'm asking you to let me stand with you, in your world. Where it's quiet. Where you feel safe. Her chest tightened. But people will always talk. They'll always judge. Let them, he said. They talk because they wish they were you. Jenny laughed weakly. You're too much. No, he said, brushing a curl from her face. I'm just a boy in love. Those words froze the world around her. In love? She whispered, stunned. Yes. He didn't hesitate. Jenny, I love you. The confession came soft but certain, like a promise carried by the wind. Tears gathered in her eyes, not from fear, but from overwhelming warmth. Min-jae. He cupped her cheeks gently. You don't have to say it back, he whispered. Just stay. But she did say it. Her voice trembled, but her heart was sure. I love you too. The night closed around them, stars twinkling above. Min-jae leaned forward and kissed her forehead with such tenderness she felt her soul melt. She realized then that falling wasn't scary, not when someone was ready to catch you every single time. Their relationship didn't stay secret for long. By the following week the entire school knew. Girls cried. Others gossiped. Teachers stared. Even Min-jae's fans outside school filled social media with posts, edits, and jealous comments. But Min-jae didn't hide anymore. He walked into school with Jenny's hand in his. Held doors for her. Sat beside her. And protected her like she was the air he breathed. One morning his father's black car pulled up outside the institution. Everyone froze. Minji's father, Kang Daejun, the billionaire CEO, stepped out. Students gasped. Staff panicked. Girls hoped he came to announce Minji's engagement to a wealthy chaebol daughter. But no. He came for Jenny. Only Jenny. Jenny Okafor? He called calmly. Jenny's heart dropped. Min-jae grabbed her hand tightly. Dad, don't. His father held up a hand. Let me speak to her. Students circled, waiting for disaster. Jenny stood straight. Yes, sir? He studied her carefully, her confidence, her natural beauty, the way she stood beside Min-jae without shrinking. Then he said the most unexpected words. Thank you, for making my son happy. The entire school gasped. Minji's eyes widened. Dad. Daejun smiled softly. I haven't seen him this alive in years. You brought color back to him. For that, you have my respect. Jenny blinked, stunned. This was not the confrontation anyone expected. He continued. People will judge you both. But love is rare. When you find it, hold it tightly. Jenny felt tears push against her eyes. Min-jae hugged her shoulders proudly. See? Even my father approves. She whispered, this is too much. No, Min-jae said, kissing her temple. It's just the beginning. Later that evening, Min-jae brought her to a quiet park near Han River. The water reflected the golden lights, and the air smelled of fresh flowers. He sat beside her on the bench. Jenny, he said softly, you changed my life. You changed mine too. He intertwined their fingers. Do you know why all the girls were tripping over me but you weren't? She smiled. Because I have sense. He laughed, loudly, freely, the way he only laughed with her. No, he said, pulling her closer. Because your heart wasn't searching for a prince, but fate brought you one anyway. Jenny tilted her head. A prince? A prince who is hopelessly in love with you. Before she could respond, he leaned in and kissed her gently, the kind of kiss that wasn't rushed, wasn't loud, but full of deep emotion. It felt like a promise, like home, like something meant to last. When they finally pulled apart, Jenny whispered, Min-jae, where do we go from here? He smiled. Forward. Always forward. Because the story of us is only just beginning. She rested her head on his chest as the wind wrapped around them, two hearts beating in perfect rhythm. And for the first time, Jenny understood. She wasn't just the girl he wanted. She was the girl he chose. The girl he would keep choosing, again and again. At first, Jenny believed Minji's father accepted her. It felt too good to be true. And unfortunately, it was. Within a week, everything changed. Rumors started again, but this time they didn't come from jealous girls. They came from inside Minji's household. His aunt whispered that Jenny was using him. His cousin said she only wanted money. His mother, the elegant, cold woman with diamonds on every finger, publicly stated, this relationship is beneath us. Word traveled fast. And soon Minji's family made their stance clear. They didn't want a black girl in their lineage. Not a scholarship student. Not someone outside their wealthy circle. Not Jenny. Min-jae defended her once. He defended her twice. But the more he tried, the more vicious his family became. One night, Min-jae came to the dorm looking defeated. Eyes swollen. Voice cracked. Jenny, we need to talk. Her heart froze instantly. They sat in an empty classroom. Rain hit the windows hard like the sky was crying with them. Jenny didn't speak. She waited. Min-jae rubbed his face with shaking hands. My mother, she threatened to pull me out of school. Jenny's chest tightened. And my father, he continued quietly, said I won't inherit the company if I stay with you. Silence swallowed the room. Jenny swallowed hard. And what did you say? I said I don't care about the company, he whispered. I just want you. Her heart fluttered and broke at the same time. But they won't stop, Jenny. They're making your life harder. My life harder. They've hired tabloids. Reporters. They want to destroy you. He slid a folded tabloid onto the desk. Jenny's face was on the cover. The black girl trapping Korea's golden boy? Jenny felt like the floor disappeared beneath her feet. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. Min-jae, this is too much. He reached for her hands desperately. I'll fight them. I'll fight the whole world for you. I don't want you to fight, she whispered painfully. I want you to be happy. You're my happiness, he shouted, voice cracking. Jenny flinched. He immediately softened. Please, don't let them take you away from me. She looked at him, this boy with a golden life but a bleeding heart. And she realized something. Love wasn't the problem. The world around them was. Jenny held his hands tightly. Min-jae, look at me. His eyes lifted, already wet with tears. "I love you," she said. "But love shouldn't destroy your future." "It's our future," he argued. "You're part of it." She shook her head painfully. "No. Not in their world." He tried to hug her but she stepped back. The hurt in his eyes almost killed her. "Jenny, don't do this," he begged. "Don't push me away. Please. I don't want to live without you." She wiped her tears but her voice stayed steady. "I'd rather leave than watch your own family tear you apart because of me." Silence. A silence sharper than knives. Then, "No," he whispered, breaking. "No, no, no." But she forced a painful smile. "You deserve peace, Min-jae." "And what about you?" he cried. "I'll survive," she whispered. "I'm used to surviving." He couldn't breathe. His chest caved in. Everything inside him screamed. Jenny forced the words out before she lost all courage. "We should end this." Min-jae collapsed into the chair, head in his hands. Jenny walked out with shaking legs and didn't look back, because if she did, she would run into his arms and never leave. And that would ruin them both. The next day they avoided each other. He didn't show up to class. She didn't go to the cafeteria. His friends said he locked himself in his room. Didn't eat. Didn't speak. Didn't smile. Jenny cried silently every night. She couldn't sleep. Everything reminded her of him. His laugh, his warmth, the way he used to say her name so gently. But she stayed strong. For him. For his future. For his freedom from the war his family would never stop. One evening she found his bracelet in her locker, the one he wore since he was little. A note attached read, "My heart stays with you. Even if I can't." Jenny broke down completely, holding the bracelet to her chest, trembling, heart shattering into pieces. Weeks passed. But time didn't heal them. Min-jae changed. He stopped smiling. He withdrew from basketball clubs, even his friends. His mother said, "Good. Now he's focused." But she didn't understand, he wasn't focused. He was broken. Jenny buried herself in studies, trying to survive the pain. But every hallway, every classroom, every empty seat reminded her of him. She missed him badly. But she stayed committed to the choice she made for his sake. And Min-jae? He respected her decision, but it destroyed him. He never loved again. Never looked at another girl. His heart remained with the girl the world tried to take from him. Time moved forward. But their hearts stayed stuck. 3 months after the breakup, Jenny had become a ghost of the girl she used to be. She still woke early. She still studied. She still carried her books like armor. But she no longer laughed. She no longer lingered around the cherry blossoms they once walked under. And she no longer looked at the rooftop, the place where they confessed their love, without feeling her chest tighten. Her roommates noticed. "You're losing weight. You're too quiet. You okay?" Jenny always answered with the same lie. "I'm fine." But every night she cried into her pillow, silently so no one would hear. Min-jae was worse. He no longer looked like the boy everyone adored. He stopped wearing fashionable clothes. Stopped styling his hair. Stopped speaking to anyone except professors. He barely ate. Barely slept. Barely existed. His friends tried everything. "Bro, let's hang out. Come to practice. Talk to us." But he shut them out. He kept one picture, the only picture they ever took together, tucked inside his notebook. Sometimes he stared at it for hours, tracing her smile with his thumb, wondering if she ever smiled anymore. His mother thought she'd won. His father believed the problem was solved. But Min-jae felt empty, like his heart had been amputated. Final exams approached and stress swallowed her. One afternoon she was walking past the science building when heavy rain suddenly flooded the campus. Students ran for shelter. She stood frozen as lightning flashed. Because the storm reminded her of their last conversation. Their last tear. Their last goodbye. Her breath quickened. Her chest tightened. She ran under a roof and pressed her hand against her mouth as tears burst free. She whispered to herself, "I miss him. I still miss him." But she forced herself to breathe, wiping her cheeks. "He needs his family. Not me," she whispered. She believed it. But her heart didn't. That same evening, Min-jae sat alone in the music room, playing the piano, the one place he found temporary peace. He played the melody he composed for her. Soft, gentle, filled with longing. But halfway through, he choked on a sob and slammed his hands on the keys. He couldn't take it anymore. He stood up suddenly, grabbed his hoodie, and walked straight into the rain without thinking. He didn't care about the weather. He didn't care about catching a cold. He didn't care about anything. He just needed to breathe. He needed space. He needed her. but she wasn't his anymore. Jenny finally stepped out of the sheltered walkway, hugging her books to her chest as she ran toward the dorms in the rain. At the same moment, from the opposite direction, Min-jae walked across the same courtyard, head down, drenched, lost in thought. The rain blurred his vision. Jenny's tears blurred hers. They didn't see each other at first. Just two broken souls walking in separate storms. But then, a flash of lightning illuminated the courtyard. And for one brief moment, their eyes met. Jenny froze. Min-jae stopped breathing. They stared at each other from across the rain-soaked pavement, shocked, emotional, terrified to move even 1 inch. His hair plastered to his forehead, clothes dripping water, but his eyes screamed one thing. I still love you. Jenny's lips trembled, her books slipping slightly from her fingers. Lightning flashed again. Thunder cracked. And suddenly, Min-jae took one step toward her. Jenny's heart pounded so loudly she thought the rain could hear it. But before he could reach her, a voice called from behind him. Min-jae, your mother is looking for you. He stopped. He clenched his jaw. He looked at Jenny again, desperate, torn, longing. But she shook her head gently, tears mixing with rain. And Min-jae forced himself to turn away. Because he knew, if he touched her even for 1 second, he would never let go again. Jenny watched his silhouette disappear into the storm, her heart shattering all over again. She whispered into the rain. Why does destiny keep hurting us? But destiny hurt her. And destiny had other plans. Their story wasn't ending. It was only shifting. Because what is meant will always find a way back.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to leave us a comment. Also like, share and subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell to get notified when a new story comes up. Don't forget to tell us where you are watching from.